Thanks so much for tuning in to the Trade Setup with me, Niraj Shah. Let's take stock of the global news flow and the global markets. Not a very pretty picture, I must say, from a bull's perspective. But while Nasdaq closed above 17,000 for the first time ever, Dow slid in trade. The 10-year Treasury yield in the US logged the biggest daily jump in over a month after weak auctions. 2 days of weak auctions. There is a 7-year auction tomorrow for whoever is interested in the US, and that might also come in, who knows, a bit wobbly. So that might just impact the yields a bit further. Neil Kashkari says officials, is a Minneapolis Fed, and he says that Fed officials haven't ruled out additional rate hikes as well. That also soured the sentiment a little bit after last week's hawkish tone from the Fed. You know what? The Fed watchers are clearly hoping for some positive data coming out at the end of this week on Friday. Brent has ended at May highs as investors await the weekend OPEC Plus meeting. And I think what oil does after falling, and if it really spikes very high, then that might be a bit of a further issue as well for risk assets per se. And what shouldn't be high is high, and that is the temperatures in India. The Indian temperature surpasses 50 degrees centigrade on average, which is a whisker away from all-time highs. We don't want it to be this hot. Frankly, in Mumbai, it is very, very hot. I would love to read in the comment section about what some of you in different parts of India are experiencing with regards to the heat. But in Bombay, it is extremely, extremely hot and muggy. Not the weather that I ever want. In fact, most of the people say this is the worst summer that we've seen in a really long time. But like I said, if the summer wasn't bad, the markets today don't look very, very promising. The implied open suggests about 104-point kind of a downtick. Asian markets too should be very wobbly, I would reckon. Now, what's the trade setup for the day today, therefore? I think that is important. The Nifty is down amidst higher volatility, but it's still above key moving averages. Now, if it drops 150 points below, does it nudge some of those averages and therefore slide further? That's the key question that I think a lot of people would be wanting to know. Let's wait and watch how it shapes up. PSU banks led the fall on a defensive day for the markets, and I think that is the key point, that for the next few days, very likely that the market may have a defensive bet. By the way, I must repeat, I don't think anybody's talking about shorting the market, so please keep that at the back of your mind. But there might just be a bent towards defensives, and that is something that you got to keep an eye out for. Very likely template in the short term. But remember, shorts are ruled out, so don't think of really going short on the markets. Key results, a lot of PSUs, Mazagon, SJVN, there is Mishra Dhatu as well. From other important numbers, GMR Airports and Cummins are important too. Deepak Fertilizers, very active name, and Tata Steel from the index coming out with the results today, post-market hours, I would reckon. But what about stocks to watch out for? The Aditya Birla Group, to start off, Novelis has filed the offer, to offer 45 million shares in the US IPO. Now, why is this important? Because Hindalco is eyeing for a 7.5% equity dilution in Novelis, and based on the upper end of the price band and the debt that Novelis has, the EV works out to about 4.8, the EV works out to $17.4 billion. Based on this EV, in case this gets confusing, let me simplify. Estimates suggest that at this EV, Hindalco target price could be about 9 to 10% higher on a fair value basis. So maybe some upsides as a result of this, but today the markets are likely to be soft, so don't quite know whether those will come. Grasim is the other one. Birla Group Holdings has increased stake to 23.18% from 19.1%, so watch out for this stock as well. Then, what about results? Some good ones first. NBCC, very strong numbers. Revenues up 43%. Margins expanded quite meaningfully, 6% versus 3.7 the estimates. The Bloomberg estimate was 3.8, so ahead of estimates, and as a result of which PAT 2 much ahead of estimates, 141 versus 108 crores. So an NBCC could be one stock that could react positively today. Brigade is the other one which came out with a very strong set of numbers. They have ended FY24 or 2024 at record highs, by the way, in terms of turnover, but revenue up 102%, maintained margins or slightly expanded margins as well a little bit. And as a result of which the bottom line numbers look very strong, 210 crores, estimates of 89.66 crores, very likely, despite the fact that real estate was the worst performer yesterday, Brigade could find some solace today. What else? MedPlus Healthcare, good numbers, revenues up 19%, 1490 estimates, in line with estimates, but margins ahead, as a result of which the bottom line numbers, 34 crores ahead of the 18 crore estimated, so could react positively as well. Amara Raja, I'm a bit I don't know, revenues up 19%, margins were actually slightly below, 14.1 versus 14.5, But bottom line, as a result of some other extraordinaries or below the operating line expenditures and other income at 232, up about 61 crores. Let's see how this one reacts. Not quite sure. Again, not sure how Aditya Birla Fashion will react because revenues were up very strongly. Margins will come up on your screen next. Those two were okay, but there was a large net loss. The respite, though, is that the companies met the stated FY24 net debt target, which to a lot of brokerages is positive. This is not Amara Raja, we're talking about Aditya Birla Fashion, but be that as it may, that's the stock to monitor. Then move on to two other stocks, weak numbers, GNFC and ITI, both of which could react negatively. GNFC will start off lower. I'll be really surprised if it doesn't because the margin and the net loss number and the profitability number looked very, very wobbly. 6.9 versus 6.2, PAT down as well. So very likely react negatively, as would ITI. Revenues down, EBITDA loss, net loss. Can't find too much of solace here. So that's the bad part. The markets will start off weak today, viewers. Keep that at the back of your mind, but don't be naked short. It might be a bad idea.